The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly, a sea of darkness dotted with distant stars. The alien ship drifted silently, its engines dead, its crew desperate. They had been lost for months, their navigation systems failing, their hope fading. On the bridge, the captain, a tall, scaled being with weary eyes, stared at the flickering star map. "We are trapped," he muttered. "No fuel. No coordinates. No way home." His first officer, a slender creature with 4 arms, clenched her fists. "If we don't find help soon, we won't survive another cycle." Just then, an alarm blared. A signal, weak but clear, cut through the static. The crew rushed to the comms panel, their hearts pounding. A voice, rough but confident, crackled through. "Unidentified vessel, this is the human ship Wanderer. You look like you could use a hand." The aliens exchanged glances. Humans? The species they had heard stories about, reckless, adaptable, impossible to kill. The captain hesitated only a moment before responding. "Human ship, we accept your assistance." Minutes later, a massive vessel emerged from the void, its hull scarred but sturdy. It dwarfed their dying ship, its engines humming with power. A docking bridge extended, and soon, the airlock hissed open. Standing there was a human, short by galactic standards, but with a grin that spoke of endless confidence. "Hey there," the human said, dusting off his gloves. "Heard you got lost?" The captain straightened. "Our systems failed. We have been adrift for." The human waved a hand. Yeah, space is tricky. Don't worry, we've got you." He turned and shouted back into his ship. "Hey! Bring the spare fuel cells and some rations. These folks need a boost." The aliens watched in disbelief as humans swarmed their ship, repairing systems, sharing food, even laughing as they worked. In mere hours, what had seemed like a death sentence turned into a mere delay. As the human ship prepared to leave, the captain approached their savior. "Why help us? You owe us nothing." The human shrugged. "Because out here, nobody gets left behind. And humans? We love a challenge." With a final grin, he added, "Besides, getting lost in space? Not really our style." As the human ship vanished into the stars, the alien crew stood in silence. Perhaps the stories about humans were true after all. And perhaps the galaxy wasn't as unforgiving as they had thought. The alien ship, now fueled and repaired, resumed its journey, but the captain couldn't shake his curiosity. Humans. They had appeared out of nowhere, fixed everything without hesitation, and then left as quickly as they had come. Who were these creatures? He turned to his first officer. "Plot a course for the nearest human colony. I want to see their world for myself." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Visiting a human settlement was risky. Stories spoke of their unpredictable nature, how they thrived in environments that would kill most species, how they turned disasters into victories. But the captain was determined. Meanwhile, aboard the Wanderer, the human crew celebrated another successful rescue. Their ship was a patchwork of scavenged parts, but it worked, just like everything else humans built. The pilot leaned back in his chair, boots propped on the console. Another day, another lost ship saved. When are these aliens gonna learn how to navigate? The engineer chuckled, tightening a bolt on the reactor. Maybe they just like the drama. We should start charging. The captain, a grizzled woman with scars from a dozen battles, shook her head. We help because it's what we do. No one survives alone out here. Days later, the alien ship arrived at the edge of human territory. The captain expected a heavily fortified station, a military outpost bristling with weapons. Instead, they found Hope's Reach, a sprawling orbital colony, its docks filled with ships of all shapes and sizes. As they approached, a comms officer hailed them. "Welcome to Hope's Reach, travelers. Docking Bay 12 is open. Try the noodle stand near the market, best in the sector. The captain blinked. No security scans? No interrogation? Just, noodles? Upon landing, the crew stepped out cautiously. The station was alive with movement, humans bartering, laughing, arguing. Some wore uniforms, others looked like scavengers, and a few were clearly pirates, though no one seemed to care. The air smelled of engine grease and something spicy. A human child, no taller than the captain's knee, ran up and tugged his sleeve. "Mister! Your scales are shiny. Wanna see my pet rock?" The captain stared. What? Before he could react, a woman pulled the child away with an apologetic grin. "Sorry about that. Kids, right?" She extended a hand. "First time here?" The captain hesitated, then shook it. "Yes. We came to learn more about your people." The woman laughed. "Well, you're in luck. Humans love showing off. Come on, I'll give you the tour." Over the next few hours, the aliens witnessed things that defied logic. A group of engineers jury-rigging a broken hyperdrive with literal scrap metal, and making it work. A medic treating wounds with a mix of high-tech tools and something called duct tape. A bar where humans and aliens alike shared drinks, swapping stories of near-death escapes. The captain turned to his first officer, voice low. "They have no fear. No rules. How do they not destroy themselves?" Just then, an alarm blared. A voice boomed over the station's speakers. "Warning, incoming debris field. Brace for impact." Panic should have followed. Instead, humans cheered. Finally, some excitement, someone shouted. The station shuddered as chunks of wreckage struck the shields. Humans rushed to reinforce weak points, laughing as they worked. One man, hanging from a loose cable, waved at the aliens. "You guys ever play debris dodgeball?" "No?" "You're missing out." The captain could only watch in stunned silence. When the danger passed, the woman from earlier clapped him on the back. "See? Nothing to worry about. Humans thrive in chaos." The captain slowly nodded. Maybe chaos wasn't such a bad thing. Maybe it was exactly what the galaxy needed. The alien captain stood on the observation deck of Hope's Reach, watching ships come and go in a dance of controlled chaos. His mind raced. Humans didn't just survive in this unpredictable galaxy, they flourished. It made no sense. His species had spent centuries perfecting order, precision, and caution. Yet here, in this mess of noise and reckless energy, humans thrived like nothing he had ever seen. A loud crash echoed from a nearby workshop, followed by laughter. The captain turned to see two humans covered in grease, high-fiving over what looked like a smoking engine. Another explosion, the woman from earlier, Lena, she had introduced herself, called out to them. "Nah, just a controlled rapid disassembly," one of the humans grinned. "We'll have it fixed in 10 minutes. The captain's first officer leaned in, whispering, "They treat danger like a game. It's unsettling." Before the captain could respond, a new alert blared across the station. "All available personnel, report to Docking Bay 7, freighter Starstrider under pirate attack, requesting immediate assistance." The humans reacted instantly. Some sprinted toward the docks, others grabbed weapons, and a few just cracked their knuckles like they were heading to a bar fight. Lena turned to the aliens. "You coming? Pirates aren't fun, but watching humans handle them? That's a show." The captain hesitated. Engaging pirates was madness without a proper fleet. But curiosity won. "We will observe." Docking Bay 7 was chaos. The Starstrider, a battered cargo ship, had barely made it inside the station's shields before 3 pirate vessels opened fire from outside. The station's defenses held, but the pirates weren't backing down. A human in a mechanic's jumpsuit, no armor, no rank insignia, jumped onto a crate and shouted, "All right, listen up. We've got two options: wait for the defense drones to scare them off, or we take the fight to them." The crowd roared in approval for the second option. The captain stared. "You cannot be serious. They outgun you." The mechanic grinned. "Yeah, but they don't outthink us." What followed was something the alien captain would later describe as either genius or insanity. A team of engineers hotwired a cargo loader, turning it into an improvised missile launcher. A group of pilots, without orders, jumped into unarmed shuttles and flew straight at the pirates as a distraction. One human, wearing what looked like pajamas, hacked into the pirate ship's comms and started blaring extremely offensive space shanties. The pirates, expecting a standard defense, panicked. Their formation broke. One ship collided with another in confusion. The third, realizing they were losing to a bunch of civilians, turned tail and fled. The bay erupted in cheers. The captain could only stand there, stunned. You had no plan. No strategy. Just madness." Lena wiped grease off her face, still grinning. "Nah, we had a plan. It just wasn't written down." The first officer muttered, "This is why the galaxy fears humans." Lena heard him and laughed. "Good. Maybe next time, those pirates will think twice before messing with our station." Later, in the station's mess hall, the alien crew sat surrounded by humans celebrating their victory. Food was shared, drinks were spilled, and someone had started a betting pool on how long it would take the pirates to come crawling back for revenge. The captain finally worked up the courage to ask the question burning in his mind. How? How do you do this? Your methods are reckless, your tactics unpredictable, yet you win. A grizzled old human, missing an eye and 3 fingers, leaned forward. "Kid, you're thinking about it all wrong. Out here, the rules are made by whoever's stubborn enough to survive. Humans? We're real stubborn." Lena nodded. "We don't follow the rules. We rewrite them." The captain sat back, silent. Maybe his people had been wrong. Maybe survival wasn't about perfect order. Maybe it was about adapting, no matter how crazy the solution. And if that was true, then humans weren't just surviving. They were unstoppable. The alien captain had seen enough. Humans didn't just break the rules, they burned them down and built something better from the ashes. He needed to understand how. "Take me to your leader," he demanded. The humans around him burst into laughter. Lena wiped tears from her eyes. "Oh man, that's rich. Buddy, we don't do leaders. Not the way you're thinking." The captain's frills flushed in confusion. "Then, who commands this station?" Sort of a group effort," said the one-eyed veteran, scratching his chin. "Mara handles logistics, Jax runs security when he's sober, and Old Man Wilkins yells at anyone who touches his hydroponics bay. It works." The captain's mind reeled. No central authority? No chain of command? Impossible. Just then, the station shuddered violently. Alarms wailed as the lights flickered. "Emergency, reactor surge in Sector 12. All hands, brace for possible breach." The humans reacted instantly, but not with panic. They moved like a swarm, some sprinting toward the danger, others grabbing tools, a few even laughing as they ran. The captain grabbed Lena's arm. "You must evacuate. A reactor breach could destroy half the station." She flashed a wild grin. "Nah. We got this." Sector 12 was chaos. Smoke filled the corridors, and the reactor pulsed an ominous red behind its safety glass. A dozen humans were already at work, shouting over each other in what sounded like madness, but the captain began to notice a pattern beneath the noise. A woman in a radiation suit was rewiring the core stabilizers while humming a song. Two engineers were arguing over which coolant line to cut, then both solutions were tried simultaneously. Someone had duct-taped a handheld scanner to a drone and was flying it into the most dangerous areas. The captain turned to his first officer. "They're not following any procedure. This is working," the first officer finished, watching in awe as the reactor's pulse steadied. A human with singed eyebrows jogged over. "False alarm, folks. Just a hiccup in the secondary coils. We'll have it purring like a kitten in 20. The captain stared. You weren't afraid?" The human shrugged. "Fear's a luxury. Fixing things? That's just Tuesday." Later, in the station's makeshift bar, which had somehow reopened during the crisis, the captain confronted Lena. "I must know the truth. How do humans conquer every obstacle? Is it your technology? Your numbers?" She spun her drink, thoughtful. "Nah. It's our stories." At his confused look, she continued. "Every human kid grows up on tales of underdogs winning against impossible odds. Of heroes who should have died, but didn't. So when we face disaster..." She grinned. "We already know how this ends." The one-eyed vet slammed his glass down. "Damn right. Pirates, reactor leaks, alien empires, we've read this book before. Spoiler alert, humans win." The captain sat back, mind racing. His people had archives of perfect battle strategies, flawless engineering schematics. But humans? They had myths. And somehow, those myths made them fearless. As he left the bar, he overheard two human children playing near the docks. "And then the entire ship was on fire," one said cheerfully. "Cool. What did you do?" The first child puffed out their chest. "What always works, hit it harder and believe really hard." The captain finally understood. Humans didn't dominate the stars through logic. They did it by refusing to lose. The alien captain sat alone in his quarters aboard Hope's Reach, his mind churning. He had spent his entire life believing in order, hierarchy, and meticulous planning. Yet here, in this lawless human outpost, chaos worked. It defied every principle his civilization held sacred. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," he said. The door slid open, revealing Lena. She carried two steaming mugs, the rich, bitter scent of human coffee filling the room. "Figured you could use this," she said, handing him one. The captain eyed the dark liquid suspiciously before taking a cautious sip. His eyes widened. It was stronger than expected, sharp and energizing. Like the humans themselves. "You've been quiet since the reactor incident," Lena said, leaning against the wall. "Still trying to make sense of us?" The captain set the mug down. "Your people operate without structure, yet you succeed where others would fail. It should not be possible." Lena smirked. "That's because you're looking for your kind of order in our kind of chaos. But we've got our own system, just not one that fits in a manual." The captain's comm device buzzed. His first officer's voice crackled through. "Captain, you need to see this. The humans are, well, just come to the main hangar." The hangar was in organized pandemonium. Humans swarmed over a massive, half-dismantled starship, one the captain recognized as a Xantharian battle cruiser, a relic from an ancient war. The ship was twice the size of any human vessel he'd seen, its armor plating scorched and pitted from centuries of combat. And the humans were retrofitting it. Lena crossed her arms, grinning. "Found it drifting in the graveyard belt last week. Figured we'd give it some upgrades." The captain stared. "That ship is a museum piece. Its technology is outdated, its systems." "Perfect for what we need," interrupted a human engineer, wiping grease off her face. "Old doesn't mean useless. Just means it's got character. The captain watched in disbelief as humans welded, rewired, and jury-rigged the ancient warship with a mix of scavenged parts and sheer confidence. One team was installing what looked like a salvaged coffee maker into the bridge console. "Why?" the captain asked. "Why this ship?" Lena's grin turned sharp. "Because the Xantharians left it behind. And nothing pisses off an old enemy like seeing their own weapon turned against them." Later, the captain stood on the observation deck, watching the stars. His first officer joined him, silent for a long moment before speaking. "They are either the most brilliant species in the galaxy, or the most insane." The captain exhaled. "Perhaps both." A soft chime alerted them to an incoming transmission. The screen flickered to life, revealing the scarred face of a human, older, with a cybernetic eye gleaming under the dim light. "Captain," the human said, voice rough. "Heard you've been studying us." "Good. Because we've got a problem, and it's about to become yours too." The screen split, displaying a star map. A sector blinked red, one the captain recognized immediately. The Voreth Expanse. A graveyard of dead civilizations. "Something's waking up out there," the human said. "And if we don't stop it, no one will." The transmission ended. The captain turned to his first officer. "We should leave. This is not our fight." But even as he said it, he hesitated. Because for the first time, he wanted to see what the humans would do next. The Voreth Expanse. Even the name sent a chill through the captain's scales. Every species knew the stories, entire fleets vanishing in that sector, probes going dark, whispers of something older lurking in the void. And the humans wanted to go there. The captain found Lena in the hangar, overseeing final repairs on the retrofitted Xantharian cruiser. The ship no longer looked ancient. Human modifications bristled across its hull, salvaged thrusters bolted where armor had been stripped, weapon ports jury-rigged with overlapping fields of fire, and a massive, crudely welded symbol on its side, a grinning skull with a coffee cup in its teeth. "You cannot be serious," the captain said. Lena tightened a bolt with a wrench. "Deadly. But the Expanse is exactly where we need to be," she interrupted, slapping the hull. "Old transmissions started bleeding through the static last week. Something's poking around where it shouldn't." The captain's frills flattened. "And you intend to, what? Fight it?" "Nope." Lena grinned. "We're gonna outstubborn it." 3 hours later, the captain stood on the bridge of the human flagship, which was really just a repurposed mining vessel with extra guns. Around him, humans worked in what looked like barely controlled chaos. A navigator was calculating jump coordinates on a paper notepad while arguing with the AI. The engineer from earlier was duct taping what looked like a toaster to the weapons console. Someone had brought a dog aboard, and it was currently wearing a tiny flight suit. The captain turned to his first officer. "We should have left." The first officer didn't answer. He was too busy watching a human teach one of their junior crew how to hotwire a plasma cutter. A klaxon blared. "All hands, brace for jump in T-30. And somebody feed Steve, he gets cranky on empty stomachs." The captain barely had time to grab a rail before the ship lurched into FTL. The Voreth Expanse looked wrong. Stars here didn't twinkle, they pulsed, like something was breathing behind them. The wreckage of countless ships drifted in the darkness, some so ancient their alloys had turned to dust. The human crew grew quiet. Even the dogs stopped panting. Then the scanners lit up. "Contact. Bearing 227 Mark 14, and holy shit is that thing big." The view screen flickered. Something moved in the dark, a shape that hurt to look at, all wrong angles and shifting mass. It dwarfed their fleet. For the first time, the captain saw genuine fear on human faces. Then Lena started laughing. "Okay, you ugly bastard," she said, cracking her knuckles. Let's dance. What followed wasn't a battle. It was a spectacle. The human ships scattered like sparks from a fire, each moving in perfect disarray. They fired not at the creature, but at the wrecks around it, using debris as weapons. One pilot flew straight through a derelict's hangar bay to drop mines in their wake. The retrofitted Xantharian cruiser, now proudly named Caffeine Nightmare, unleashed a barrage from weapons that should have been obsolete. The creature recoiled as the ancient ship's guns worked, because the humans had wired them into the coffee maker's power grid. Ha! Tastes like revenge, the gunner hooped. The captain realized something then. Humans didn't fight fair. They fought human. And that was so much worse. The thing in the dark screamed. It wasn't a sound, not really. It was the shriek of reality itself protesting, a wave of wrongness that made the alien captain's vision blur and his bones ache. The creature, whatever it was, didn't belong in this universe. And it was pissed. The Caffeine Nightmare shuddered as another wave of that scream hit it. Alarms blared. Shields at 20%, someone yelled. Steve just threw up in the coolant vents. Lena, strapped into the command chair like some ancient Earth corsair, bared her teeth. Perfect. The captain gripped his console. This is not perfect. That thing is tearing us apart. Nah, Lena said, punching a button. We're distracting it. On the scanners, a tiny blip streaked toward the creature, a single unarmed shuttle, moving faster than anything so small should. Inside, a human in a patched-up pressure suit leaned over the controls, humming tunelessly. The captain recognized the pilot. It was the engineer who duct-taped the toaster to the weapons console. What is she doing? Lena grinned. Delivering a very strongly worded complaint. The shuttle didn't fire. Didn't evade. It flew straight at the creature's gaping maw. And at the last second, ejected its entire cargo hold. 1,000 canisters tumbled into the abyss. The creature swallowed them whole. For one heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the creature exploded from the inside out in a storm of blue fire. The captain's jaw dropped. What? How? Lena spun in her chair. Turns out, Vorathian void beasts are super allergic to human-grade industrial solvent. Who knew? You fed it cleaning supplies? Yep. And that, she pointed as the creature's remains vaporized, is why you never piss off a species that writes instructions on their weapons. Silence settled over the bridge. The stars looked cleaner now. Brighter. The captain realized something. He wasn't afraid anymore. Not of the dark. Not of the unknown. And definitely not of humans. Lena flopped into the chair next to him. So. Convinced yet? The captain looked at the crew, the engineer high-fiving the dog, the gunner chugging something that was definitely not coffee, the navigator sleeping upside down in their harness. He thought of reactors fixed with duct tape, pirates defeated with bad singing, and ancient warships brought back to life because why the hell not? Yes, he said quietly. Then louder, your people are insane. Lena beamed. Welcome to the stars, Captain. She tossed him a wrench. Now let's go home. 3 cycles later, the alien captain stood on the bridge of his own ship, now retrofitted with several human modifications, including a coffee maker welded to the navigation console. His first officer eyed the new upgrades warily. This is highly irregular. The captain sipped his coffee, black, 2 sugars, he'd acquired the taste. So is surviving. On the view screen, Hope's reach grew smaller as they departed. Somewhere aboard, humans were probably already planning their next impossible stunt. The captain smiled. Somewhere out there, the universe was terrified. And it should be.